Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in to my channel, Triple Aqua from the West. I'm Mermaid Christy Ann, and that's Key West. I'm here today to talk to you about, it's more of a question, how do you know that you are connected to Source, you're one with Source? You know, when we grow up, we are taught different things. If we're lucky, we're taught religions and so on and so forth. So we think, yes, you know, we have a relationship with God, and it's not that it's wrong at all, because everyone's journey is different. But when you finally have, after you have like your huge awakening, because everyone has like a big awakening where you see everything for really what it is, you know, crystal clear vision, there is no more rose-colored glasses. And it's a painful process because it's a big shot to your ego. And you, where you thought you were, or all the things that you thought are no longer. And so it's a process that you have to continually have to work on. But when you have, after your big awakening, you're always going to have awakenings, you're always going to be leveling up. But you definitely have one really huge one, and the really huge one is really usually after, like, you know, you've gone through life and you've thought things were this way, and you thought you were so connected to Source, you were just connected to God, Jesus, Buddha, whoever it is. But when you really are connected to Source, there's several things that you know that you're connected. It's because when you don't try to shove your beliefs down other people's throats, because you do realize that all of the religions they work, even if it's you know, even if it's witchcraft or whatever, because it's all energy. So any type of religion that you try to get into, now naturally I would encourage everyone to get into something that's light and beautiful and benevolent. Obviously you don't want to do anything dark, even though you can. I would not recommend that at all, and this is not what this channel is about. And you know, I don't do spells or anything like that. I was telling somebody this past 4th of July weekend, because we were talking, and there was a few of us in a room, and we had somebody new around, and we were talking about, you know, all kinds of esoteric things, and he kind of was, you know, I think a little intrigued. And I said, well, you know, we're witches, but we're white witches. And I was like, don't worry, we don't put spells on people. I'm like, you know, I am the spell. I don't have to put a spell on people. And naturally I do things like give myself spiritual bath, or do positive affirmations every day. And I do work with energies, whether it's the full moon or eclipses and things like that. But it's always for me, or betterment of the universe, the earth. I never use anyone's name. I don't do any of that kind of ritual stuff. That's just not for me. I have done a cord cutting before, but it was only because you know, it was something that I felt that I really had energy that I really needed to get rid of, and it wasn't anything harmful. It was just for me to detach from that. And you can even do that mentally. And but anyway, there's all kinds of things that you can do. You know, the actual you know, Indians, like the woo Indians, people laugh when I say that, especially my family. They've been doing rituals and things forever, and there's so many other different cultures that do the different things. So whatever works for you, but I only recommend, as long as it's light, it comes from a good place, and you are sending positive vibrations out. But yeah, so back to what I was saying was that when you have these, when you know when you're really connected is when you don't try to push your religious beliefs on anyone else. And you'll also sit there and you'll feel kind of in the twilight zone, but with no judgment. Because when people don't understand, or they're scared, or they try to put you in a box, like, you know, they're scared because so-and-so was a whack job that did that, or whatever the case is, or just because it's against what they believe, they will judge you. And that's another thing. When you are connected to Source, you don't judge anyone for anything that they do. Now, you naturally, if they're doing something wrong, you know, harmful, you want to, like, you know, stop them or bring it to their attention, because that is the right thing to do. But you normally just sit back and pray and give them love and light. And another thing that you will notice when you are connected to Source, and this is how you know, and by the way, if you are connected and all of these things are like, yep, like check, 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 that's me, congratulations, because you have done the work. You have not only talked the talk, you have walked the walk, and now you're leading by example, and you're helping other people to reflect and so that they can see their darkness and where they need to change, and hopefully they will. Sometimes they'll reject you because they don't like the way you make them feel, because dark energy does not like light energy. And we all have both. It's the whole thing is to create a balance, and so that you're able to tap into certain energies when you need it. And it's not, you can't have the stars without the darkness, like I've said in other videos, and how so many people have before me have said as well. Those are not my words. However, when you, like, let's say when you are completely connected to source because you're really woke, and like I said, you're not completely woke, like you're not the end all be all, and you're not the alpha and you're not the omega, so don't think you're there. You're humble about it. Although I think what gets you the most mad or most tips your scales is when people insult your intelligence. They don't think that but you're in a position that you really don't argue with them, and you're not mad about it, and you're not bitter about it. You kind of just let it go in peace, because you have compassion for them because they're not there yet. But at the same time, that's a journey that they have to walk on their own. So by leading by example and not being swayed, and I'm getting to that, is how you basically show people what they need to do. And it's also a way to know that you are connected to source. So I would say, not in any particular order, number one, you don't judge. Number two, you realize that all religions are important and all things are important as long as it's coming from a good place, because it takes you to the next step, and everyone learns differently. And also God, source, higher power, universe, Jesus, Buddha, all opens it up to you in the right divine timing, when it's going to click for you, when you are going to understand it the most. So with that being said, another thing is you're not swayed by other people's opinions, by other people's actions. You stand firm in your convictions because you're connected to source, and you know that there's a pecking order in the universe, and our almighty creator is it. And you have to respect. It's about respect, and it's about loyalty. So you want to respect your temple. You want to respect the rules of the universe, the laws, like the law of one, being loving. We are all connected. Love thy brother like you love yourself, the first commandment. So those are things that are important, because when you get to that, you fear God, not man. And you try your hardest every day to work for God, not for your employer. Although they do sign your paycheck, you really work for God. So if you work for God and you constantly know that the Almighty is omnipresent and always watching everything that you do, then you don't fall short. Now, do you fall short? Absolutely, you're human. And that is part of the journey as well. It's like giving up a really, really bad habit, something that's really toxic for you, and then falling off the wagon and doing it again. Dust yourself off, get back on. Don't be hard on yourself. Do better next time. Eventually you won't fall off. Eventually you won't have to dust yourself back off, because you'll be standing firm in your convictions. You'll be standing grounded. You have gained some roots. You will be that firm foundation. You will be that pillar, that rock, that in the cornerstone. I got my crystal with me. I was clearing my cards here. And it's selenite, by the way. I really like selenite. I'm breaking away for a second, but selenite's like, if you like Superman, like I grew up watching all the Superman and all that stuff. So like when they go to the secret place, like in the cold, wherever, tundra or wherever it is, all the crystals everywhere, they actually made that out of, I believe it was selenite, because that's exactly what it looks like, I would imagine. And if they didn't, Hollywood did a heck of a job of mimicking this beautiful crystal. But anyway, and this is also the only crystal you don't need to charge. A friend of mine told me that, so which is really cool. And so basically you're not swayed. So like, let's say you're in a room and there's a whole bunch of people, and someone tells a joke, but it's really not funny. It's actually offensive. It's offensive to you. It's offensive to the group. You won't laugh at it. You won't entertain it, because you don't care about dumbing yourself down spiritually to making everybody else feel comfortable, because you know that it was out of line or it shouldn't happen. Or if the joke is directed to you, you won't laugh and ha ha ha, hey, just to make that person feel comfortable. You won't. You'll probably won't say anything. You probably just, or if it's a completely offensive, you will definitely speak your mind. Now that's another way to know that you're connected to source, because you're not monkey see, monkey do. You're not just a sheep following everybody. You're the shepherd. You have your staff and your rod, and you are powerful and you are grounded. And that's another way to know that you are connected to source. So there's so much more that goes on to this. I mean, because, you know, spirituality is just this huge cosmic umbrella of so many things to learn, that if you think you even know any of it, you realize, and that's another thing that happens when you finally are connected to source, you realize that you're not very bright at all. Like, there's so much to learn. Like Einstein says, you know, he thought he wasn't smart because he knew that there was so much to learn that he would never learn it all. And that's what happens when you realize that your schooling, your experiences, it's nothing compared to what's coming and what you can, and we know that as being humans, because we only use a certain percentage of our brain. If we use our full capacity, I mean, it would be amazing. But that's what you do when you finally are connected to source. Source gives you gifts. He gifts things to you as well, because you've done the work. And it's like, I said yesterday, like when the Sadducees were in the temple and they were fasting and they were being hypocrites, and they were like, I'm so, I haven't drinking, I haven't eaten or whatever. And God said, or Jesus said, Jesus, same thing to me. There goes one, flew out. He said, don't be like the Sadducees. And I think I just posted that video today, even though it was done yesterday, but I'm going to post this one tonight. After I go meet my mom and some friends. But he said, I assure you you will get your reward then. That's all you're gonna get. That's all the accolades you're gonna get. And it's the same thing, because you weren't doing anything that was really putting any kind of beautiful seed in the ground that was going to grow this beautiful fruit. You didn't. So you basically just threw it out there, it shot up for a second, and it's dead. So God's not going to reward you in private, because you just got your accolades in public, because that's what you wanted, because you were doing it from a wrong way. Whether you were doing it to be ugly, spiteful, play games, you could have been doing it just to make yourself feel important. It was coming from a bad place in your heart. It wasn't coming from a genuinely good place. So that's all the reward you're going to get. And it's like that person that tells a joke against you or other people, then that's all the reward, getting those basically half, I can't say that word on here. Well, I guess I can. I don't think this is for kids, but you get that half-ass smile, or that like really fake laugh, and where people are laughing nervously at it because they don't know whether to laugh or like not laugh, but they're doing it just to fit in or to make you feel good, even though they shouldn't reward bad behavior. So that's something that source won't give you a gift later, but have you do the work. Source will give you a gift. And then another thing is, when you're not truly one with source, when you're doing those things, because later on they don't make you feel good. You're like, oh gosh, I shouldn't have said that. Oh God, that was wrong with me. When you are one with source, you know what to say, when to say it, because you're thinking of your brother. You're not putting yourself first. You're thinking, how is this going to affect, if I say this, if I open my mouth and insert my foot into it, how is this going to make everybody else feel? You're not doing it for self-gratification because, you have an underlining little sneaky agenda or whatever the case is. You're doing it because it's for the betterment of all. And in the long run, so the person that's going to be connected to source and not be swayed, they're going to walk away from it smelling like a rose, because they didn't do anything wrong. And they did the right thing by not entertaining or rewarding bad behavior. So I'm going to get that card that jumped on the floor, and then we're going to continue to go forward. Oh my gosh, so really beautiful. We got the dragon, and it's almost like a symbolizes the dragon like a peacock here. And it's new beginnings. Begin your new life. Don't wait. Begin your new life and standing your ground. I mean, look at this mystical, magical creature. I mean, look how tall it's standing. It's almost as tall as the sun. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's powerful. It is standing its convictions. Be this person in the midst of all the sheep, just following, and monkey see, monkey do, following the leader or following the Pied Piper. Don't follow the Pied Piper. Make your own music. Do the right thing. Stand firm. Be fierce. And I feel that a lot of people don't do that, but then they think, oh yeah, well, I'm into crystals and I meditate every day and I eat really healthy and I'm trying to be a great person. Well, good. All of that is great. But when it comes down to the time when you are around people who are not putting out light, but they're like, oh, but I was just joking. Well, if it was funny, everybody in the room would be laughing, right? So, just keep that in mind, not to dumb yourself down spiritually. And it's okay. You don't see, when you are connected to source, it's not even a second thought. Like, you won't even think about it. Like, you don't care who it is. You don't care if it's somebody you've known forever, or your family, the person like you're completely crazy. It doesn't matter. You are answering to your higher power. So you know that you have to conduct yourself in a certain way. And that's why you are given the gifts that you're given, because you've done the work. So Spirit will reward you with letting you tap into your spirit. And that's another thing. Like, the more I stand in my power, the more you stand in your power, you will get so many gifts that are opened up to you in enlightenment. It's insane how you are rewarded and how you can see things differently. I mean, you start seeing things in a whole new light, and you're like, wow, last week, man, I thought I really could see things clearly now, but this week, it's like, whoa, it's like that, but like, I don't know, times 1,000. That's how connected you get, because you're doing the work. And not only are you doing the work, you're proving it, because you'll do the work, oh, fall short, because you forget who you are when you get around people, because you get swayed. You are not standing firm. But when you have done that work, and you've really, really done the work, and you finally get to that point that you're connected to source, you're not different when you're in public or around people. You're not influenced at all. Zero, like hardly ever. And if you are, you catch yourself real quick. It's not like you pull that back and you're like, whoa, because it doesn't feel good, because you get in this state where you're constantly 4D, 5D. And it doesn't mean like you're seeing fairies and unicorns and stuff like that. But although you can, depending on what level you're on. But and I know that might sound crazy to you now, but if you stick with it, you'll see what I mean. There's a reason why humans can dream all this stuff up. It's not because we make it up. It's because it does exist in other realms. So, and people like J.J. Rowling and all kinds of other really embedded people know this stuff because they're able to tap into it from their Akashic library and their ancient ancestors and the divine source universe. So, yeah, and they're channelers, they're oracles, if you will. So just know that you won't follow the masses. You just, because you can't. It's like you are, it's so hard to not be connected. Like I was saying, like when you are open to all of this and you are connected to source, you live in the 4 or 5D, which is, compassion, loving thy brother. Like you're in a peaceful state of bliss all the time. And then, somebody will come in, try to rock your boat. And you're like, man, here they go again. Because, it's a battle between, it's a spiritual battle that's going on between dark and light. And so, you'll have people that are mostly light, but then have some dark. Their dark takes over. And so they don't even know that they're being used, but they are being used to attack the person that has a lot of light. And, we can all too, by the way, get up and be in a real funky mood and be in our dark side. But when you finally are connected with source, it's really hard to go back. It's really difficult. You are able to just balance all of your elements and use them and be able to temper them all the time. And it's really, really empowering, and people can feel that, and it scares them if they don't know what's going on. But if they're curious, because you're a mirror, you're basically reflecting to them what they don't like about themselves. So they have to fix it or work on it. And then, you know, some people in the 3D will think, oh, well, that person's just, you know, thinks they're better than everybody else, or that person, you know, is a prude, or that person is, you know, a fake or whatever, because it's easier to put labels on things than actually really figure out the source of the problem, because then you would have to do the work. So really interesting enough, we got Victory, which is the Ace of Swords. And you know, the Ace of Swords is honest, direct communication, and that is exactly what you get. You get that honest, direct communication, and it might seem a little cutting, and it might seem a little, but it's divine, it is benevolent. Like, you're not doing it to persuade somebody in the wrong direction. You're doing it out of love and out of integrity, because you want them. And like, when you get to this point too, you're not a superhero, you're not perfect or anything like that. You can digress all the time, because, you know, we do live in a 3D plane where it's easy to be affected by your ego and your pride, and that is your dark energy. That's what you need to keep on a diet. But when you get to that level of enlightenment, because that's what it is, you're able to control it a lot more now. But it's work. It's something that you have to work on every day, but it gets easier once you pass the big hump. You know, it's like working out. You haven't worked out in a long time, you know, you get used to like being, you know, sore or this or that and the other, and then it kind of gets easier, but you're constantly having to level up on purpose, you know, change your diet, do this, do that, whatever. And it's the same thing with your spiritual life, with your spiritual journey. So this is beautiful. And then, you know, it's beautiful. This is the 5 of Wands, and competition, you know, and that is what you're not worried about. You get to the point you are not worried about competition. You're not competing with anybody but yourself 5 minutes ago, last year, yesterday. So you don't worry about competition, because it just doesn't even exist to you. You know that you're every man, you know that you're every woman, you know that there is nobody like you on the planet. And it also brings any kind of illusions to the surface. Like, you could be in a group of people and you know what's going on. Your BS radar is just on it. It's because that's a gift that you're given. You're able to see through all of the illusions, all of the mask, and you're not judgmental about it either. It is a little intimidating to people because they don't know how to figure you out. You're a mystery. But to you, even though they may think you're being judgmental, you're not. It's just who you are. That's it. That's just who you are. And if they pay attention to the way you conduct yourself and the way you treat people, they will realize that it's a strength. It's not something scary. It's not a power trip. And that is just who you are now. And then respect comes later on, which hopefully that's what we need to do, and that's what we should strive to do, because that's what we should do for our Creator, who has given us life, who's given us this beautiful place to live in, who gives us all of the gifts and has given us all the laws of the universe and so on and so forth, and our ancient ancestors. You know, we need to pay that respect. And if we respect our higher source, then we respect ourselves, because that also is where it really starts. You need to respect yourself. And if you're not respecting yourself, then you're in that other energy. And you can be trying and fall short. Don't be hard on yourself, but you're not respecting yourself. So go back. What's going on? What do you need internally you need to work on? And then at the bottom of the deck, you have the Knight of Swords, which is drama, because that's what the Knight is. He comes in all shiny, swinging his sword, spitting stuff to one person, then goes off and then says something else, and then comes in. It's not consistent, because you know, the Knight is not the king. He's the Knight. You know, so the Knight is kind of like the teenager, kind of, if you will, the zodiac, where they think they know everything and they think they're important over here, blah, 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 blah. Or they say one thing, they're basically talking out of both sides of their mouth. So you get rid of that, and you also know that too when you are standing in your power. So we're also going to pull from the Angels of Atlantis cards deck, oracle cards. So they are all oracles except for the last one, the Oceanic Tarot. That's actually tarot. But these are oracle cards, and I really love these. These are actually, I think, one of my favorite first oracle cards, so they definitely are my favorite, are the Angels of Atlantis. And Atlantis, if you don't know much about that, it was an ancient civilization that was so beyond any technology that we even have today. And that's because they knew how to tap into all of their gifts and their Akashic library, and they were connected to source. And that's where we strive to be today. And each generation that comes in that's incarnate, if you notice, like they're really, this one wanted to come out. They are really, they're so advanced and spiritually, and there's a reason for that, because all of that technology is coming back again to us slowly but surely. You know, we've mismanaged the way we have used our energy, the way we've used all of the elements. So those gifts have been taken from us because we weren't worthy of those gifts. So slowly we are proving ourselves worthy. Those who are enlightened, those who are waking up, those who are woke, to that we are worthy of these gifts again. And so they're being given to us again, and then they'll be passed down through generations and generations. And we can also wake it up, these gifts in other people, so that we can have our heaven on earth, because that's what we are in right now, is in Revelation, where people think that the world's going to end. It's not going to end like we know it. It's just going to, all that dark energy is going to go out, and it's going to be that positive, beautiful energy that's coming in, so we can have that Eden on earth how we wanted it. And it's just that beautiful peace of mind, that clarity, that humanitarianism, that love thy brother like you know, like as do unto others as you do unto yourself, or you know, love thy neighbor as you love thyself. So the next this card is Archangel Gabriel, and it's inspiration. And this should give you some inspiration to not only do the work, but prove it to yourself, to higher power. And don't let other people manipulate you just to fit in. It's not where, this is not a popularity contest, people. This is real. You have one shot while you are here. You might be able to come back. You might be sent back. But while you are breathing here and you have air in your lungs, you have a purpose. And it is not to impress other people. It is to do the work for the Creator, for your higher power, for humanity. This is what this is for. So call on Archangel Gabriel to give you that inspiration. And it's amazing how, you know, I work with the archangels myself, and it's amazing how they help you, and because they occupy different rays. And then on the bottom of the deck you have Archangel Zadkiel, security. It gives you a sense of security that you've never felt in your life before. And it's that sense of security that you know that we are all interconnected. We are all one. So if you hurt somebody, you're only hurting yourself. If you try to be ugly, you're only hurting yourself. And if you've done it in the past, you know it to be true. Unless you have so dulled your conscience to the point that, but if you're slightly awake, all of the stuff that you do that you know is not appropriate, it's going to bother you. It's going to shake you to your core. It's going to shake your foundation. And that is a tower moment. And that's what the divine does to you. It gives you tower moments because it's lessons. It's like, okay, you don't want to learn? Here you go. And you have an action with every reaction. Every action has a reaction, and you have a consequence to what you do as well. So know that you're either going to reap dharma. So if you're that person in the circle that didn't like somebody picking on somebody else, or you defended them, or you didn't say anything and you were the only one that didn't reward bad behavior, know that you're going to be reaping dharma, while the other ones will reap karma. And karma is a lesson, so don't take it as a bad thing if you have been on the reciprocating end of karma, which we all have. None of us are protected from that because it's, you know, part of our free will. But just know that you want to be on the end where you feel good about yourself when you walk away. And then at night you're not thinking, oh my God, did I say that? Well, I shouldn't have said that. That was wrong and I should have acted this way. Da, 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 da. But because you wanted to fit in so bad, you know. So we're just going to pull one more card. And I think this is the something with chakra. Oracle cards or tarot. I think it's their oracle cards. I think it says tarot. That's me. Oop, there we go. So that's exactly it. You create a balance when you are like this. You're balanced. You see the three people? This one's looking over there. This one's not happy. That one's over there. And then you've got like father time in the background. Source just like, okay, balance yourself out. Start again. You want to be that one person holding the scales, that you are tempering things. You're tempering the energy in the room, because that's what happens. The one person that doesn't reward the bad behavior, they do temper in the room, whether the other people know it right away or not, which they do know it right away. They feel it. And then they're like, uh-oh, crap, stuck my foot in my mouth, or, oh, I shouldn't have treated that person that way, or shouldn't have done that. And then you're tempering that. You're balancing the scales of justice, and that's basically what it is. You're calling justice, you're calling judgment on a call, even without saying anything, just by your energy alone. So that's really beautiful. And then what's that's going to bring you, and at the bottom of the deck, it's going to bring you joy. It's going to bring you nothing but pure joy when you are completely and truly connected to Source. And then from where you go there, it's a mystery. You just keep going. You keep going, and then you're able to reap what you sow, and you're going to have nothing but beautiful flowers, because that's what you planted. You planted beautiful little seeds. You didn't plant thorns, because when you plant thorns and, you know, things like that, they're not going to feel good when you have to reap what you sow. It's going to hurt. It's not going to feel good. So thank you, everybody. I hope that this enlightened you. I hope that you are on your journey, and you're well on your journey to understanding these things, and understanding that if you have fallen short, don't be hard on yourself. Just do better next time. Do better every time. Get out into the world, and when you know, one of the prayers I say most every morning, I would say like 98% of the time, because sometimes I'm human and I get up and I go and I roll out of bed, and I always thank God at least, but I say, Dear God, send me out into the world to do your will and not my own. Please remove people from my life that are not in accordance with your will, even if it hurts. But you know, the beginning of that is really profound. Send me out into the world to do your will, because it's not about us in the end. We all have to do our part. We all have to row the same way in the boat. If not, we're not going to get there. If you've got somebody rowing the other way, it's just creating a drag. It's a crab pulling you down. It's not healthy. That person's going to have to leave your boat, because it's not going to work. If you've got people rowing, and then you get a couple in the back drilling holes, well, I'm sorry, eventually those people have got to go, because they're not team players. And God wants team players. Source, divine, higher power wants team players. That's why he gives us the free will. He doesn't want just anybody in his kingdom. He wants everybody who wants to be there to be in his kingdom. So like I said, please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys. I'm super late to where I have to go, but this was well worth it, and thank you for being with me. And remember, always keep swimming towards your dreams. Bye.